Welcome to another video. We have another what if video here, and this one it's what if Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man was in the MCU. We have a couple of points we want to touch upon, kind of just see what his impact would be like in MCU. Would it change? Would it change the solo films, the ensemble films, stuff like that? So yeah,
we're saying what if Spider-Man was introduced to MCU, but at the end of Avengers 2: Age of Ultron, not before this.
What year was Age of Ultron again?
2015. Right, so this is probably after the Amazing Spider-Man had come out, after Amazing Spider-Man 2 has come out as well. Spider-Man's by himself, Gwen Stacy's dead, right? So it would make sense for him to find some sort of, belonging.
The thing is,
I want to maybe try.
The thing you brought up with Gwen Stacy, if we go to like what if Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man was in Civil War, maybe that's why he would join Iron Man, because Iron Man's whole thing is his guilt, and like maybe he would relate
people
to that.
Dying. Yeah, exactly. So we'll get to that. So bear in mind, we're assuming that Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, he's Peter Parker, he's down on his luck, he just lost Gwen Stacy, he gets recruited by the Avengers, he knows the Avengers are a thing in this universe. He maybe thinks, okay, maybe that's where I can be the most help, potentially.
Maybe.
End of Avengers 2, he's there in that hangar scene, training with Wanda and Vision and Falcon and War Machine. And then we are introduced to, so we know then that he's got more relationship probably with like Captain America. Maybe he does look up to Tony Stark because they're both tech kind of people. But he's probably closer to Captain America, that's probably a big difference.
Because he relates to him more on like a more grounded level.
Yeah, also Captain America's son and lost the love of his life as well.
Yeah, that's true.
In that kind of sense, stuff like he can talk to him about. In terms of Civil War, I think this would be a big diversion.
So what side do you think he's on?
I think he would start off on Iron Man's side because of what you said relating to like mistakes and people are getting hurt because of your actions, and he's probably thinking, yeah, that's so true. My girlfriend died because of my actions, more or less. It needs to be a bit more of a formality to the superhero thing. But I think, like in the comics,
when War Machine gets injured and Spider-Man, that's when he's like, okay, this isn't. Maybe
that would be like his turning point potentially. I think in the Civil War he would have got really badly injured as well, like he did in the comics.
Right.
Because maybe he turned on someone, or maybe he realised Cap was in the vibe. Maybe he was a Black Panther in that, like he's the one letting Cap and Bucky go. No, not Bucky, so he's the Black Widow in that, he's the one letting Cap and Bucky go. Or something like that, or like maybe sacrificing something so Cap could be free. And then he just ends up being his own, he just leaves it.
Yeah.
I don't know if he can go back to being a vigilante though, because obviously the Sokovia Accords, I don't know, not really a big thing now, but back then it probably would have been.
Yeah, but I think that would have helped create your Spider-Man vigilante thing, where like the police or the authorities are constantly after him.
I think what could have been quite interesting is like maybe he was a bit on the run with Cap, or maybe he wasn't, or maybe he was just on the run in general. And then maybe this Infinity War plays out the same. So Tony Stark's about to get killed by that big guy, and then Andrew Garfield comes in and saves him, saying, "Hi, Mr. Stark."
Yeah, so that would be around the same.
And then he ends up going into space with Tony and everyone else, but it's a different dynamic now because it's like, why did you? It's a bit more drama there, being like, you chose Steve, why, blah blah blah, and a bit more like maybe he could be the one that makes Tony really start understanding where Steve's coming from a bit more, to the point where it is in Endgame they're a bit more like, you know what I mean?
Because like there's always this issue of like, would Peter Parker actually like Tony Stark because of their different lifestyles? Like, would he respect the billionaire, Rampus, playboy, whatever, I
mean, Spider-Man's the perfect mix, man. He's got the nobility and the heart of Cap, and he's also got the brains and the ambition of Tony. You know what I mean? And I think maybe that could have been cool to maybe in that Infinity War, then the Iron Spider suit, be like, Tony never stopped caring about Peter. He actually made him a Spider-Man suit. It could have been cool. Like, you would still have that Tony Stark relationship there, but you also have him. I think one of the biggest missed opportunities MCU, and obviously it was not their fault, is that Cap and Spider-Man really didn't have anything. In the comics, there's such a close, like, Spider-Man looks up to Cap so much. And they have one conversation, maybe two conversations in the whole MCU, which is as much as they could have done.
Yeah, they only get Civil War together, really. Like,
Yeah, and they have one, and he just calls them Queens in Endgame. It was just cool. It's just nice stuff like that, but yeah, I think that could be quite interesting.
I think we just look at, like, his solo films and then, like, how that would have impacted. I think he would have been going to Sinister Six I think the MCU makes Oscorp more of a big presence in terms of your street level villains.
Yeah.
I think Oscorp starts turning up in like stuff like Daredevil, your Netflix shows, and other like just random Disney Plus stuff that is very like street level villains that you can just get across pretty easily.
Yeah.
I think there's a bigger influx of that. In terms of solo wise, does No Way Home exist?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we have to assume Marvel will be going in the same direction with like the multiverse. I think maybe, you know, it could have been even cooler. Just, I don't think cooler, but you know, having a Toby and Andrew team up potentially. Like, you know, maybe he's really down on his luck after Endgame. Tony's dead, Cap's gone, all his idols are gone. He's again alone.
Yeah.
Everyone seems to really think he's got obviously Doctor Strange and stuff like that. And also, you have to remember, this is kind of like an older Peter, like a much older Peter. So he's not as like. Well, I think Holland's like 16.
Because in Amazing Spider-Man 2, Gwen Stacy's getting ready to go off to.
Yeah, so they're probably about 20. I don't know how it works in the US, but I feel like they're a bit older when they go off to like 18. Maybe 18, maybe 19. But yeah, as in he's a tad older anyway.
Yeah.
He would be, at this point, he'd be about 22, 23. So he's a bit, not as much of a kid. But, you know, maybe that's when he feels a bit lost. And then that's maybe when Tobey Maguire and Spider-Man can come in.
Trying to find his purpose.
And then can try to show. It's kind of similar to what happened with Holland. I don't think too much difference. I just think the difference is Holland's not there, realistically. And then, yeah, like maybe he can find himself as Spider-Man again in that. And then maybe that's when you can go into
I think in No Way Home he's going through that Spider-Man 2 arc that Tobey was going through, and that's why you bring in Tobey this time.
Yeah.
Instead of it just being like a multiverse thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Tobey's impact in No Way Home, it's not really for like it's not really to teach him a lesson, I would say. It's more like just to like, oh yeah, remember what Spider-Man is, it's what we do. And I think if you have purely Tobey and Andrew, it's more of like, look, I know the struggles with Spider-Man, you've lost everyone, you're thinking, what's the point of this anymore? But then they actually have a mentoring role.
It's what we do, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, I think, you know, I think then eventually after this, like, you would have really established Spider-Man, you know, you'd see, you know, he would have been one of the most established Spider-Man we've seen. And then maybe he has like 1 or 2 more solo films, I don't know.
You would have a nice little Green Goblin team up in No Way Home, I bet.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you would have had Dane DeHaan or whatever his name is.
Yeah, it could have been that cool as well. I mean, I honestly, like, you know, maybe a team up of 2 Spider-Man could actually be more fun than, you know, 3. But I don't know, like, I think for me, one of the most interesting aspect what we just spoke about was probably the Civil War stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I liked an idea of like a Tony and a Spider-Man not being too close, but being similar, and Tony kind of being like a bit annoyed that he's not as close to Spider-Man as Steve maybe is, or that Spider-Man chose him over Steve.
Yeah, I think overall you get a different tone as well of the movie. Like you don't get the coming of age. You don't get the coming of age like John Watts sort of like comedy feel thing. I think you get a very more mature, more drama based, because it's Spider-Man when you meet him in Avengers 2 it's more like broken, so you can't do a comedy film. I mean, they do with Thor, but like you can't really do like just a pure comedy with him.
I think looking back, I think I like that they recast. I just feel like,
I don't know, but after seeing Andrew Garfield in No Way Home, don't you think getting more time with that dude, like would you have liked him more than Holland if you got?
I think Andrew, as in, it's hard because, you know, obviously we've seen what we've seen, right? And, you know, again, the moments we've experienced, would you rather have had Avengers, or would you rather have had Amazing Spider-Man 3, or what we've had?
Seeing how Andrew Garfield like went into the role, I'm not gonna lie, I wouldn't mind seeing him a bit more.
I wouldn't mind seeing him a bit more, but I think the fact that we even got
like if he ended up as your main Spider-Man, I don't think anyone's complaining. Especially with the better writing and everything, that he would have got with more integration to MCU. But like, you know, that's just more like personal taste or whatever. Like, I just think with more time, he would have grown into that more natural Spider-Man that everyone would have loved. Yeah,
I don't know. I feel like the progression Holland's on is really cool. Like, I think like if he has the whole college trilogy, and now we've got Spider-Man, we haven't got like Avengers Spider-Man, we haven't got Iron Man, we just got Spider-Man himself. Yeah. You know, we can just see.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, that was just like a little short whiff that we wanted to do quickly.
Yeah.
Hopefully we get to hear your ideas, what you think.
Let us know what you think. Do you prefer? Do you prefer the Holland? Do you think what we got, or do you think that? Because, you know, the original plan was for Andrew Garfield to come into the MCU.
Yeah, it's like this weird thing that apparently Andrew Garfield didn't come to a meeting and they're like, okay.
Or like they purposely changed the timing of a meeting so he couldn't get there. there's a lot behind the scenes, a lot could happen, but I do think what we have, and you know, I'm so excited for Spider-Man MCU. Every time he releases a film, Holland, it's just momentous, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
It's cool.
But I still do, like, if they do want to pick up somewhere on the Garfield, I think I'm more excited in it now than I was before.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they do something like that.
Yeah, but you know, we'll see what happens. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave your comments below, like, subscribe, and we'll be back with another one.
So yeah.